Welcome to the We Buy Houses podcast with our host, Brian Spitz, president of Big State Homebuyers, leading the seamless approach to real estate investing in Houston since 2005. Brian's specialty in this large wholesale operation is facilitating real estate solutions for people wanting to sell quickly. Each week, we discuss the ins and outs of wholesale real estate investing and related topics by professionals who matter. And now, here's Brian.
Do you know if your home is safe for someone requiring special care or with dementia? My name is Brian Spitz, president of Big State Homebuyers, and today we're talking with Cyndee Frey, who is a specialist in people that need care and people with dementia. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Brian.
So tell us a little bit about that topic. How can people know whether or not their home is safe for someone who needs, whether it's an aging senior or someone who just needs special care, because it's not always a senior that gets dementia. Mm-hmm. So how do we know if the home is safe for someone who has those needs?
There are really some very basic things that are good for anyone, but it's removing obstacles,
okay.
Not having stacks of things. Small rugs can be a problem. Looking at the function of the stove, okay, and where steps are in the home. Are the steps covered in carpet? If the individual has to use a walker or a wheelchair, is it maneuverable? Is there enough room in the home for it to be maneuverable for them? So it's almost like looking at the home as if you have a young person, a very small person, like a child. How would you create a safe environment for a child? Is much the same as we create a safe environment for someone who is older requiring a lot of assistance.
And this is something that you do for people. You assess their properties. How often would you say, how much of your business is assessing a home for someone like this?
It's probably a little less than 25% of my business.
Okay.
The assessment often becomes a part of the bigger picture, and what I do is helping families understand dementia and how to communicate with someone who has dementia. So when you are creating a safe environment in the home, part of that is learning how to communicate differently so that you can work with the person who requires that assistance.
And these things, I imagine, come on gradually, the extra needs, the dementia or other similar conditions that require special care. At what point is it appropriate for someone to seek out? I mean, what are the signs that, if I had someone who needed this kind of care, what signs should I be looking for that it's time to call someone in your field?
That's a very individualized, personal question. When I talk with spouses and adult children who are taking care of a parent, it really depends on what they feel capable of doing.
Okay.
When someone reaches a point where they are incontinent, they're not going to the bathroom anymore, that's when some spouses say, I can't do that anymore, I need to find replacement. Sometimes there are behavioral problems that arise. If someone becomes aggressive, whether that's verbally or physically aggressive, that's time to seek out having them live someplace else where you are safe and they will be safe. And sometimes, depending on what is causing the dementia, the illness, people may require more physical needs than related to the dementia. And with seniors, if a spouse is unable to take care of someone physically, then they need to look at either bringing someone into the home or moving someplace else. And often that's a better option, is moving into another location where help is there 24/7.
That's going to be a really difficult decision, especially for a spouse.
It is.
And so what you do is, do you go in and help them really see the situation for what it is, or most people already come to understand that they can't do it anymore? Another personal question.
It is, and it really varies. When I work with spouses, it's very different than working with adult children.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes adult children are still working and trying to take care of a parent. So their list of what I can still do and what I need help with is different than a spouse.
And, you know, you hear all the time about the importance of taking care of the caregiver. And so I think that's something that gets lost. I mean, I've read about it, but I know that's really important, because if you've got nothing to give, then you can't be of service to anyone. Tell me a little bit about your opinion there.
The statistics of caregivers dying before the person they're caring for are very high.
Wow.
Because it is very stressful. And people tend to isolate, especially when someone has dementia. If they're afraid of a behavior occurring when they're out in public, they will isolate. And taking care of yourself is critical to your physical well-being, to your ability to care for someone else. And there are just little things that people can do. I tell them to make a list, because someone will say, well, let me know what I can do for you. We all say that. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. And in the moment, it's rare that you can come off the top of your head with something that, okay, well, I'd like you to do this.
Right.
Make a list of things that people can do for you. So when someone says that, whether it's going to the grocery store, picking up dry cleaning, taking them to a doctor's appointment, coming in and staying with the person who is ill for half an hour.
Right.
So I can go for a walk, or
Right.
I can just go to Starbucks and sit and have coffee for 30 minutes.
Right. Let me ask you one other question, because this is something I'm thinking about: finances. So this stuff is expensive, long-term care, and I think that we're going to do a segment at some point in the near future about long-term care insurance. But how do you have different services for different people at different financial levels, people with different capabilities? How do you assess, and are these options available to anyone? I mean, is there government assistance for some of these needs? Or another tough question, I'm sure, but a general idea.
Assisted living is private pay or covered by long-term care insurance. There are programs through the Veterans Association that are specifically for assisted living or nursing home care. So it isn't a great amount of money, but it is something that is available to veterans. Other than that, there really isn't much available to pay for assisted living. It isn't covered by Medicare or Medicaid. It doesn't cover any of that type of service.
So what's the difference, but a nursing home might be?
Yes.
So, and what's the difference between the two?
Nursing homes are federally regulated as well as state regulated. They accept Medicare, Medicaid. Assisted living is not federally regulated. It is regulated by the state, and it's different state to state.
Okay.
And it's private pay.
Okay. Very interesting. I encourage our viewers to do some more research on all of this, and then find out some more about the services that Cyndee can offer. Tell us your website and how we can contact you.
It is www.dementiaremembers.com is my website, and my email address is cyndefrey@dementiaremembers.com. And that's CYNDEEFREY.
Excellent. And you can reach us at bigstatehomebuyers.com if you would like a free assessment on what we could pay for your property. We specialize in buying properties. We pay all cash, we close quickly, and we can work around any of the needs and send you to resources like Cyndee, who can help you with the other leg of the transition. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to We Buy Houses with your host, Brian Spitz, president of Big State Homebuyers. Don't forget to visit our website, bigstatehomebuyers.com, for more information on how to sell your house. We pay $500 for referrals, so tell your friends too.